Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System 22 and webdesignertechtips.com. We got a fun one for you today. If you keep your eyes on the bottom of the screen, we've got some images coming up here. They're black and white. When we hover over them, they'll turn a color, and at any point you can pop them out into a light box. But if we continue scrolling up the screen, you're going to see that they change from black and white to color when they get to the top of the screen there. And again, of course, you can pop them out into a light box. Really easy to do. No coding involved in this today at all. So let's get started. I'm going to enable the visual builder. Let's roll on down to where we want to work, and we'll delete this section and we'll start from scratch. So I'm going to delete this section, the blue tab. And let's start from scratch. I'm going to add a new section by clicking on the section above here, hitting the little blue button. I'm going to make mine a regular section. Put in however many columns you want in yours. I'm going to throw 4 in mine here. And we're going to add an image module. Go ahead and choose whatever image you want. That's great. I kind of want my images to be a little bit bigger than that. I mean, that's okay. So to achieve that, let's make this row full width and we'll adjust it. So I'm going to go into the row settings here. Over to design to make it full width. Go to sizing. Width there, we'll slide that one up to 100%. I'm going to copy that, Control C, and paste it in the max width down below, or you can just type it in if you want to. We've now got a full width row, perfect. But I want a bit of space either side. So let's go into my spacing here, just down under sizing, still under the design tab. So let's give it perhaps 10% each side. Put in 10 and the percent sign, hit the chain, it'll do the other side. And you can adjust it up and down with the little arrows here. It'll do both at once because you've got the chain checked. Just get it to the size you want it. I think I was happy with my 10. Great. Well, let's just save that now. We'll put a little background into our section so this stands out a little bit better. Blue tab for the section, remember. Background, always under content here. Let's make it our dark grey. I've been using 2424. It's going to work perfectly for me. Great. Okay, well, let's start making this happen. Well, initially, I want this image to be black and white to start off with when it comes into view. So let's go back into our image now. Link-wise, I'm going to have a light box effect by flipping that little switch on. We're under content and link here. Of course, you can link these images to anywhere you want if you turn that off and just put your URL in there. Always best practice. If you're linking to your own site, keep it in the same window. If you're linking off-site to somebody else's site, open it in a new tab. That way your site's going to stay open. Let's open in Lightbox for this particular one. Great. I'm going to go over to my design tab now. We're going to make it black and white. I'm going to go down to the filters section here. And our second one down is saturation, which is the amount of color that it's showing. You can oversaturate by putting it up to the right and it gets crazy bright, or make it black and white by taking it all the way down to the left. That's going to work for me. But when people put their mouse on it, if it's down here, I want them to see a colored version of it. So let's create the hover effect. And this is common to all Divi modules. If you hover up over the writing, you'll see some little icons appear. Go to the thing that you want to affect, in our case the saturation. If there's a little arrow there, we've got one. We can create a hover effect. The desktop tab is when their mouse is not on it. I'm happy for it to be black and white. But when they put their mouse on it, I want it to turn color. So we click on the hover tab here. That's when the mouse is on it, obviously. I want that to be back up to 100%. And again, you can slide, you can type in a value, and you can increment with the little arrows on the right-hand side there. Perfect. Well, let's flip it back to desktop. So we've got our little black and white pictures here. Great, well, let's create the scroll effect when it rolls up the page now. I want it to start getting a little bit of color right there, and by the time it's at the top of the page, I want it to be fully colored. Now we're going to use some scroll effects to do this, but there's a little trick we've got to do first. Let's save a little image there. I'm going to go back into my row, the green tab for the row, remember. This is sitting in column 1. I'm going to put the same image in column 1 by clicking on column 1 there, going down to background, again, always under content. Third tab along this background image, I'm going to throw the exact same image behind this one. So let's click on background image, grab that same image. Now you can't see it because our regular image is in front of it, but now we've got a black and white one on top and a color one on the bottom. Now we've done this, we can use the scroll effect to flip between the two to give the impression that it's going from black and white to color. Now while I'm in here, I want to do the same for my other columns, so I'm going to do it while I'm in the row. Save the column settings, that takes you back to the main row settings. We'll go into the next column, column number 2 here. I'm going to add the same image that I want in all of these. So again, rinse and repeat. I'm going to add that one. Can save it. I'm going to go into my next column. Going to add this one. And for my final column over here, save it back to the main row settings, column number 4. I'm going to throw that picture in. Great. Now you can't see anything in any of these columns because they've got no content in them. So I'm just going to save that. Take us back to the row settings, save the main row settings. Let's make our little scroll effect for this one. Then we can duplicate it without having to do it all over again. So I'm going to go back in to my image module. Going to go over to advanced. Right at the bottom, you'll find scroll effects. Let's just roll this down to the bottom here. And we've got several. We've got vertical motion, horizontal motion. We've got fading in and out, which is what we're going to use today. We've got scaling, which is making bigger and smaller, rotating and blurring. So I'm going to go to the third tab, fading in and out. I'm going to enable fading in and out. What that's going to do is we can fade this actual image out to nothing, so we just got the color image behind it. Remember, there's a color duplicate right behind it. So I'm going to hit the switch to enable it. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you can see a little bit of color in there. It's because we've got our little image in the background bleeding through because the opacity is down here. I want this to be 100% visible, the one on the top. I'm just going to put 100. It'll put the percent sign in. As you can see, that's black and white now. We've got viewport bottom, which whatever device you're using on, which is the bottom of the screen down here. And we've got viewport top, which obviously is the top of the screen up here. So it's a bit like a timeline. We can decide what we want to do as we're going along here. Now at the 50% mark, I also want it to be 100% visible. If I start sliding up there, that's great. It's staying black and white. But when it comes to perhaps 80% up the screen up here, I want it to be fully colored. So they can see the nice colored image. To do that, I'm going to put a 0 in this one. So it's basically, we're not even going to be seeing that black and white image. We're just going to be seeing the colored version behind it. But I want it to happen around about the 80% mark. Obviously, adjust yours to taste. So I'm going to take the viewport top down to about 80% there. Now, when I roll up, you're going to see a little hint of color coming in from there. If you don't want any color at all, you can slide this closer to the 80. I'm happy with that, though. Then we get up to the top there. It's fully colored. Perfect. And although we can't see it, it's still there, so we can pop it out into a light box still. So once you're happy with your actual scroll settings, we can save our changes and we can just duplicate it and do these 4 really quickly. Let's duplicate it, drag one of them across, really doesn't matter which. Flip out the image for the one that we've got in the column behind, which I happen to know is the one next door here. Save that, rinse and repeat. Duplicate it with the 2 little squares. Drag one across. Swap it out. This one. Save it, and then finally, rinse and repeat. Duplicate, drag across. Go in there. Change that out to that little UFO type picture. Great, so we've got 4 different images there. Let's save our changes now, make sure this is all going to work on the front end. Little purple button, save draft or publish if you're ready. And let's exit the Visual Builder. And if I roll on down the page, you'll see them popping in there, and they're black and white. Now remember, we added that little hover effect that we can make them color on hover. And you can slow that down or speed it up over in the Advanced tab. In transitions, the default's 300 milliseconds. I just left it on that. That's quite nice. And of course, you can pop them out into a light box at any point. And as we scroll them up the screen, they're going to get a little hint of color coming in. And then by the time we get to the top, they're going to be fully colored, just like that. Fantastic. And if you want more images, you can just duplicate the whole row and switch them out and switch out the background images right there. And that's a really nice little effect to have on your site. People are scrolling up your site and that sort of thing has happened. It's going to get their attention pretty quickly, which is exactly what you want on your website. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you, or make a little demo video like this one. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignertechtips.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.